See, it's the Mancave, baby. Topics about to be hot. Dave Shug and the fellas watch us stir up the pot. Hot topics, put your mind at ease. We talking about everything, especially the shit that you need in our community. Never miss a show that be truancy. We all got opinions on the show, I be doing me. Wayne with the sports, real topics with real men. Welcome to the Mancave, step right in.
Welcome welcome all to the Mancave. We are in business. It is Monday night and we are happy to be here. If you are new to the show, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Mancave on YouTube. We could really use your support. We appreciate it. We have a great show for you guys tonight. You can, well, I guess if you're watching us right now, you already know about the live stream, but kmwi-media.com, you can watch the live stream, of course. If you're watching this, you're already there. You guys can also give us a call at 203-802-KMWI. That is 5694. We have a great guest today. Arkansas Razorback in the building. Right. You know what I'm saying? Good friend of mine. I'd like to introduce Mr. Ramon Broadway.
What's going on,
brother? How you doing, man?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, I'm glad you came through, man. We're gonna get in here and talk a little bit for the kids, and you know what I'm saying. But man, what are you feeling about this Antonio Brown situation that's going on out here, man?
Oh man, honestly, I think we were sharing a little earlier how I feel about it. I think you put someone like him on a stage, and you know, especially a young African American man, you want him to represent in the most positive way, because at the end of the day, I think some of these athletes, when they get to that point of making that kind of money, they forget that they still have people looking up to them.
Right.
They still see these, you know, they forget that they have these youth and these kids that are watching every single thing that they're doing. To see a situation like that, first of all, to lose that kind of money that many days, I think that's worse than any stock market crash or Dow Jones.
I mean, that's three teams in 2 weeks, correct?
Anything, right? I think, you know, if anybody on Wall Street right now was in this position, they would be probably headed to the exit, you know?
Right.
So just something similar to that, you know, that would take that, you know, that type of money would have done so much for him and his family and his community. To be cheated out of that by just not being level-headed and not, you know, having the self-control and watching what you say and not understanding what the effect that your words have and the damage that it will cause and affects your future.
Well, I guess a lot of people who, you know, make it to that level of success when you're talking about sports are probably used to people glossing over their faults and their flaws. I mean, did you see a lot of that?
I've seen a lot of that, but today is a new time.
Right.
Like,
this
social media thing is like have driven this society to the ground, in my opinion. I mean, back, you know, and I'm not saying back in the day like that, like it was, but think about the time has changed within the last 3 years.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Just imagine that. And I think people not having the awareness and I guess just caring enough, just having enough care to go ahead.
No, I want to ask you a question. So when did it strike you to the point where you were like, okay, I'm off the boat?
Yeah, you know, so I had an interview one time.
No, I mean, because the helmet was one thing,
right,
and then it was the foot or whatever with the Raiders,
right.
Then I mean, when did you get to the point
when he had the FaceTime message call with the head coach, and the head coach was trying to convince him.
Right.
You know, I think John Gruden done a great job of have stood by his side and battled for him more than anyone that I know, right? But I think when he sit here and said it ain't about the money no more, I'm a human being, no one was dehumanizing him. I didn't feel like he was getting dehumanized.
Right.
So for you to defend that, to me, I thought it was maybe deeper issues. Now, of course, we're not there. We don't really know. Amar, you know, my guy who's the financial advisor, me and him had a conversation today. He played at Pittsburgh with AB.
You're right.
So he was there. He played receiver. He was in the meeting rooms and the practice field and the games with him. He said that was nowhere how he acted. But Mike Wallace was there at the time. You know, you had some more elite receivers that was in the Steelers core at that time. And AB was just trying to kind of create his name. But when he said it wasn't about money, the coach was saying, just play football.
Right, yeah. I mean, because that's what it's about at the end of the day.
That's what this is about. It's still a kid's game. And when we start trying to make this game bigger than us, you're forgetting about the Ray Lewis, you're forgetting about the Ronnie Lott, you're forgetting about these guys that have paved the way for young black athletes to get a success, to get a, in the kids' term nowadays, get a check, get a bag, or whatever they say right now. So you almost, discrediting that those yellow jackets, those guys who put blood, sweat, and tears in this game. And I think nowadays with the social media, go back to that, I think that's what's really hurting.
So, I mean, is it a difference between him standing up for himself, or you just feel like he just went too far?
I think my personal thoughts, I think that he went a little bit too far. But,
hell yeah, he did. Okay, can I make a quick comment? I'll make it real quick. Okay, first of all,
we got Kenny, the voice of God, back here.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead, Kenny.
First of all, the guy kept getting fined, so he made a hell of an argument. Then he gonna go back and threaten the GM.
Right.
Everybody hearing this shit. You're right. The coach Gruden was back behind him. 100%. He tried to stay out the media with it. Every time he went to the media, hey, he's a great player. I can't wait to get him back on the field. I got some plays for him.
Right.
That's Gruden's standpoint. Then it got to the point when you threaten the GM. In my mind, I'm thinking he didn't want to be with Oakland.
No.
He was already in cahoots, building a contract up with New England. And then he said, well, I'm going to fuck it up, so they got to let me go so you guys can pick me up.
Yeah, but he was gone. So now he goes to New England.
Why don't you mess it up in 6 weeks when you get your guaranteed money?
Well, I mean,
he was getting 15 from New England.
Well, exactly. He was getting 15 from New England.
Now he's fighting for 10.
Well, he was getting that with incentives. That means it was
incentive.
We talked about these contracts that these kids are not reading. This contract stated you get this amount based on this.
But he has an agent,
right?
And he got one of the best agents in the league. He do. That went and negotiated that contract with New England under the table, right? So all of a sudden now, hey, I'm free now. I didn't fuck it up so much. They letting me go. So if you guys pick me, let's make this move right now.
Right.
That was all in the works. Those contracts don't come that
Okay, but now that's over.
Right.
The Raiders was over. We go to New England. One of the spots that'll almost take anybody and revitalize their career.
Right.
Yeah, it's like football therapy. It's
I
like,
mean, so you're in the place to be with Tom Brady.
Right.
Like that was where I jumped
and New
off.
England don't even give that kind of money.
Right, but that's where I jumped. They don't need to though, because they know you're going to be in the playoffs.
Not until you prove yourself, right?
They know you're going to be in the playoffs. So, like, coming from you, being an ex N.F.L. professional football player, because that ain't the only league you were in, and we'll get into that later. But coming from you, because that's your brotherhood right there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it just means a little more.
Right.
It means a little more when you hear it from someone who's actually been there.
But it's like your little brother who just keep on cutting up though.
Right.
And and it's kind of one of those things like when I grew up in a household when one sibling got a whooping, everybody got a whooping, right? So you're looking at the situation where it's like, he is like a little brother to, you know what I'm saying? He's like a person that you want to grab on by the arm and just say, man, like, come on.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure he got enough people
We're all
doing
cheering for you. Well, I think he got more people patting him on his, you know what I'm saying, versus getting in his face and tell him, I grew up in the era where you can go behind, you can box.
Right, yeah, right. Me
You know
too.
what I'm saying? Like where this freshman didn't come in and do what he's supposed to do, the upperclassman had that right.
Yeah, pull the gloves out.
To get on him, get in his face and grab him and snatch him up.
It's different nowadays.
Now it's all this hazing and which now I want to say this while we on the show, we don't condone hazing at all. That's completely wrong. But what I'm saying is it's a difference between holding a person accountable and just letting them to be counseled to your locker room.
Did y'all do any of that?
No, we didn't do none of that at all.
Oh, yeah. You see that smile, right?
Didn't do any of that at all.
Well, you had touched earlier on growing up. Where did you actually grow up?
I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh, yeah. So you played ball out there,
I played ball out there, went to Evangel Christian Academy, state champions. I mean, 10 times over 17.
It's a private school, right?
It's a private powerhouse football school.
Yeah, I kind of got the skinny on how you ended up there, and what was the senator's name?
Yeah, James Stewart.
Yeah.
And you know, and Marshall Jones. There was big time politicians.
That was
there.
an awesome story.
It's an awesome story, and you know, but I tell people all the time, I didn't have a lot of choices, so my choice was I was either going to go to jail or I was going to play football.
Right.
So at the time when the judge had me in his possession, that's pretty much what he offered me. Mm-hmm. And at sixth grade, you know, I mean, what I'm going to be like, yeah, take me to jail. I was like, no, I'm going to go play football.
So this was at sixth grade.
Sixth grade,
about 12 years old.
Right.
You had this option, right? What you wanted to do.
I had a full-blown probation officer.
So that'll blow out one of my questions, because I had a question for you where I wanted to know if you were just a natural at football. Were you naturally gifted, or did you kind of develop over time with coaching?
I was a natural.
Right.
I was really raw.
Right.
And I needed a lot of coaching though.
Right.
Like I was one of those players who would pull up to the game super late and score like 6 touchdowns.
Right. Ready to go.
Ready to go. But I failed all the time because I couldn't really afford cleats.
Right.
So the judge at the time, he was my coach. He goes, well, I'm going to go buy you some shoes. And then once he put me in some shoes, I realized I can start cutting, I can start doing it. So then we started developing a different kind of athlete they were seeing in me. And I started out playing running back. My first offer came from running back. Right. And then eventually I turned it down because I figured I had a better chance to get to the next level playing corner. But I was really blessed to be, as raw as remind you, I didn't know how good I was because I was always in the streets. I was gang affiliated. I grew up in a very rough neighborhood, and I didn't even know what I could do until actually they gave me the rock.
Right.
You know?
Okay, so growing up in a rough neighborhood and going through the things that you did, and you found football as was this your way out, or was it what you wanted to do, or did you have other?
No, it wasn't what I wanted to do. I just didn't want to go to jail. I didn't want my uncle, my grandmother's in jail. My grandmother did 50 years flat. You know what I mean? Right. So I came from an incarcerated family and an upbringing, and I just, I had a question asked in the interview that's like, well, how did you make it out of that, right? Right. And I said, I just saw what everybody else in my neighborhood was doing, and I just did the opposite. And I was just like, and honestly, that's all it was. I mean, I still, I had assault and battery charges hanging over me for a long time. Mm-hmm. But I stopped being so influenced by my peers because I started setting us a level of athletics in my neighborhood. Nobody was balling or playing, thinking about going to college in my neighborhood. And two, they started seeing the newspaper clippings and they started seeing the news interviews, and they're like, this is my partner, this is my boy. So now, everybody, then I had like that tag on me, like, nobody touch him, nobody mess with him. You know what I'm saying? So I could walk around with my chest up a little,
No. Do you think it's a direct correlation between people who play highly violent sports like football, rugby, hockey, things like that, and domestic violence, whether it be on males or females? Correct. You know what I'm saying? Just fighting in general. Right. Just I know a lot of it comes from the way we're brought up, and us always having a chip on our shoulder, which is very important in football. Right. You talk to most football players who are highly successful, they all have that chip on their shoulder, all of them. So do you think that there's a direct correlation between that?
I believe so. And unfortunately, our loved ones get the worst end of that sometime. And when I watch these men, careers shatter because of these moments, I just think that there's not enough light shared on that. I think it's talked about. And then it's one of those things. It's like, no, that happened. He jumped on his wife, or he jumped on.
Because we put a lot on CTE.
Well, but the thing that's weird about CTE is this. you can't even diagnose it until you
gone.
died.
Right.
Right. So
what's the exactly?
You know,
that's
so
where I'm going. It's
you know,
like,
so and it's that's such a great question. That's such a, and I want to spend a little time on that area because I lost some friends to suicide. I know players who committed suicide and killed their spouse or girlfriend or whatever it is and killed themselves.
It's real.
And I think we don't spend enough time in that area and educating us and making it okay for, just understand this, the black community to get help.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
The Caucasians have the insurance and they already have, their family already have the physician or the doctor in place to do that. Why do we look at getting help as something that's mentally wrong with us?
Well, I mean,
right?
well, coming from the NFL
Right.
perspective with it, or professional football in general, do you guys have something in place there to help you with it? Like, because like you said, you can't diagnose yourself with CTE until you're dead.
Right.
But yet you can go out here and beat the crap out of somebody, and that could be a direct result of what's going on up
wrong.
here.
Correct.
And no one cares. You're going to jail.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So is there anything, or have they come out with something now that, you know, will help people like that?
This is a really good topic. So let me share you my story. And this is to be the first time I have talked about this other than having a conversation.
Hey, we like breaking news on the Mancave.
Other than having this conversation with my wife, right? Because, well, what I want, and I don't want people to start blowing up my inbox talking, you know, with doctors and all that. But what happened is the N.F.L. have sent out settlements and case numbers to all for N.F.L. alumni. So for a while, I was getting these letters to go get it, you know, get checked out and stuff like that. And I'm just here telling you guys as well. Even me telling you guys this, to me, we don't share enough light on it. We think something wrong with getting help. I was afraid to go. It's like, I don't want to go because I don't want to know, because if I find out that something's wrong, then, you know, we're not educated on this enough, including me, right? So if I come in here and get diagnosed with this thing, what would that do to, you know, what would that do to me as a man mentally? Because I'm supposed to be strong. I'm supposed to be. Right,
yeah, that's something we talk about a lot, mental health. But at least if you know, you can.
Right, that's how it's supposed to go. But you also got to take that and dissect that, like, to your core, and you got to be like, this is who I am.
Right.
And you got to have a team of support, you know, your family, your wife, or your significant other, or your kids, whoever it may be, to walk you through that program. Because I'm telling you, that's a scary, scary thought.
So the NFL hasn't put anything together to try to help, like the concussion
protocol is a way different thing now. Okay, I remember when I was playing, we just got on the computer and just looked at a couple shapes and a couple numbers and a couple of colors. And if you pass that, can remember, if you can remember, but probably, you know, when you guys was playing, they only had the nose thing, right? So we are making progress, you know, because, you know, your generation, when you guys was coming up, you didn't even have the computers.
No, we didn't.
You know, so you didn't have that test. So we had
I look for my highlights and they non-existent.
Right.
Like,
So we have if you have a concussion on that Sunday, you go into concussion protocol that Monday, and then you do a test on Thursday.
Right.
So technically, let's look at that. Right. You got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You got 5 days.
Right.
To come to your senses. That's pretty much what they're saying. And if you don't pass that computer test, then you're not ready.
You're not ready to go.
But Tom Brady.
Yeah, they going. They playing. Well,
Okay.
I mean, hey,
so I mean, you know, and it was interesting because his wife, I love the Bradys first and foremost. I love any woman that can make more money than her husband first off, and ain't throwing a ball. So I love her. But what happened was she did an interview where she spilled the beans. She told family business, right? Which meaning she brought up a concussion that Tom had, that the New England Post had been covering up or whatever. So I want to remind you, when these moments, your family members or the significant others are the ones who get affected by this.
Yeah, the most.
Right? And she was shushed to not ever talk about that again. Well, how do you expect her? This is her husband playing out there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm guarantee you, Tony Romo, people like Dak came in and took a good. Dak came in and completely took his job.
Yeah, and it happens every year.
But Tony Romo was good enough and still well enough to go somewhere else and be a good quarterback for someone. Okay,
Right.
He's way better than Russ, like whoever the Cowboys backup is right now.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater's the highest paid second backup, and I promise you,
He's good enough now. I think Romo need to go coach somewhere, man.
But
He
you
is
know
awesome
that
on
this
the play-by-play.
conversation with his wife and his family, even me as an ex-football player, I was like, Romo, you are falling apart, dude. And I don't mean his play-wise. I mean his body.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what you guys go through.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude,
play ball.
Hang it up. You look at who just retired here recently. The big time quarterback, Andrew Luck.
Oh yeah, Luck.
Well,
yeah,
guess
Luck.
where he went to school at?
Yeah,
Stanford. Like,
yeah, he's smart.
So he got a whole. He's like, dude, I don't have to.
Yeah,
Do this.
Get killed, and he has a photographic memory too. He don't want to mess that up.
He don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So
I didn't blame him. I thought it was a G move.
And a lot of people around the league supported that move. Go out.
Yeah.
He'll never.
Why didn't they support Barry Sanders the same way though?
Well, because say it again.
It's a different time.
I believe that too, but I also understand this about. I think we knew he was never getting the ship.
Yeah,
we knew he was never getting the ship, but and
they wouldn't let him go.
They wouldn't let him go,
Because
they want him to get the ship. Because technically, in order to get that yellow jacket, that chip got to come somewhere around there. In the the Detroit Lions. No.
So let me ask you a question: college or pro?
100%. I still have dreams that I'm playing college ball. I'm still playing at the University of Arkansas.
I kind of thought that would be your answer.
Yeah. Well, I got a funny story.
Go ahead.
So first time I was at the Chargers, right? So we playing a game, all right? So y'all might not remember him, but my boy Anton Kaysen, he played cornerback.
Yeah.
And that was with Quinn Jammer and,
Jammer.
Some bought big time. I was just blessed to, Barry Sanders. I was blessed. I mean, not Barry Sanders, but Bob Sanders. I was blessed to be in the room with these guys.
Bob Sanders a beast.
And I remember, I'm a very passionate person. I'm a crier. like I'm a crier, right? Like I cry all the time. Like I'm like a big, since I was little, I was that kid that played street football, right? And if I got hit too hard, I'm getting right back up, but I'm like crying.
I'm the same way.
I'm mad. Like I'm finna run everybody over.
When I get mad, I cry.
I get cry, right?
I don't cry over much, but when I'm pissed off,
I'm crying, right? So I remember we were playing the Seahawks, right? And I was playing. I got my first debut in the N.F.L. I was balling. I had a really good game. I remember, and we lost. All right, and a Lynch, right, broke it outside on me. I'm coming in as corner contain, underestimating how fast this guy is because you're seeing these guys on film. But in the SEC, I was playing for 4 years. I knew how fast Mark Ingram was, Antonio, all these guys.
It's a different speed.
But when you get to that next level, it's a
totally different
speed. So I'm, Marshawn Lynch he's beating it out. He take it to the power line on me, and I missed him, and I give up the touchdown. So we end up losing the game, but we was playing pretty bad all week. I mean, all game. I get in the locker room. I'm in tears. I'm crying. Apparently, this ain't okay in the NFL. Apparently, crying is not acceptable, right? Nobody cries, and at that time I was playing for a really bad, San Diego Chargers team, nowhere near how they are now. So losing was normal there, right?
Wasn't nobody tripping.
Right, nobody tripping. I came from Evangel with 5 state championships, and I came from Arkansas. We had SEC championships.
Probably lost 2 games the whole time you were there.
And I'm like, I got to get used to losing, right, ideally. So I remember Casey came over. He goes, dude, Vincent Jackson locker was next to mine. We had just traded Sproles to New Orleans at that time, right? So I'm at Sproles' locker, and they was cleaning out his. I ended up getting his. I was able to sit next to Vincent Jackson, one of my favorite receivers of all times. And like, dude, why are you crying? I said, dude, we just lost, dude. Like, I can't believe I let him get outside of me. I'm just frustrated with myself. He said, bro, you probably get a check tomorrow. Right? And back then, San Diego was really poor. People don't understand the Chargers left San Diego because it was a poor city. So they moved to LA. So the LA talk was already floating around the locker room when I was there. We still was getting like paper checks.
Right.
Like back then, right? Everybody else getting direct deposit. We was getting paper checks. So I come to work the next day. I got an envelope on my locker. I open my envelope. I said, shit, I ain't crying no more.
Right.
So now the game is different.
Right. Yeah.
Now you
it's
get
business.
Now it's straight business.
It's business.
So it don't matter if you win or so. Wait a minute. I get this money even if I lose.
Right.
That was like heaven to me. So I was like,
so you prefer college football, of course, because there was more camaraderie, correct?
Right.
And there was more love for the school. And, I think it was a saying that people who don't go to college love the NFL. And people who do go to college love college football.
I could see that. I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see it because what you get with a kid with his shirt off.
Right.
Face painted, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just crazy screen, those frat boys up there going crazy, the band going crazy. It's just nothing like college football. You know, the grass smells different, the turf just runs faster. It's just a lot of things that college football is, and the passion of these students and these fans is just, and I went to the University of Arkansas, and it was like absolutely.
That's a great university.
Yeah, because Arkansas, we don't share the state with anyone. So we don't have a professional team. So Texas Longhorns got Texas Tech, Texas A&M.
Texas everything.
Baylor, Dallas Cowboys, the Houston Texans.
Arkansas is just y'all.
We the N.F.L. of college, dude.
Right.
And so
I never thought of that.
Yeah, dude. So I mean, we didn't go to jail. There's certain things we didn't do. It just
all right. So I want to ask you this question. You have a son, correct?
Correct.
That's my little man too.
Yeah.
Cool as hell. But with CTE being out there in the news, you are a former NFL player, college player. You know the ins and outs of the league. You know the ins and outs of the game.
Right.
Are you going to allow your son to play football?
Me and his mom talks about that a lot. She's so excited for him to play football. And she was she played soccer on a collegiate level, so she was a really baller as well. But I think mostly for me is I want to spend this time just teaching him fundamentals as long as I can.
Right.
I don't encourage young kids playing full contact football. So to answer that, no, I don't.
7-7.
I encourage it being coached correctly.
Right.
That meaning making sure your coach get all of their certifications, make sure they understand what they're teaching your children, because it's really, really serious when you doing head-to-head hitting.
Right. Yeah. Well, they don't even do that no more.
Well,
it's unfortunate, but they're not even doing that no more. Well, like Oklahoma drills and stuff like that. Not even doing that no more.
So I don't know because I haven't been around high school football.
But that's half the problem.
But not hitting. We was doing Oklahoma drills for punish.
Yeah, we was too. Yeah, I think that's half the problem.
We was doing like the boomerang thing where one person get in the middle and a number get called out, and he just clucked you.
Yeah, but you ain't turning around.
You ain't turning around.
You don't turn around fast enough, you out of there.
You send birds.
You out of there.
And you're like 7, 8 years old. So to me, I would not, I wouldn't want Hendrix to play football. My oldest son, he's playing flag football right now. But, I strongly encourage parents to do your due diligence on every program.
So to be clear on your answer is yes, I can't wait for him to play football, but I'm going to make sure that he's taught properly how to play football. And the reason why I asked you this question is because you have the experience.
Right.
And number two is that we have a lot of parents out there who are worried about their kids playing football. And I'm under the old school. I'm taught from the old school tutelage. You know what I'm saying? That, hold up, Slim. Like, I played football for years with no equipment. So when somebody gave me equipment, it was like, for real?
Right.
I thought I was Superman.
Right.
You couldn't tell me nothing. I was going out there to bash everybody. And I say that we can take, like, my son worries about injuries with football.
Right.
But I try to tell him, look, you're looking at the National Football League. These guys are 6'8", 300, some of them.
Right.
These guys are 6'4", 220, running sub 4.2s. Their bodies slamming together are totally different than your body at this age.
But in the same sense, it's more dangerous for people's bodies to be slamming together who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, that too.
You know, so I wrestle with that. I wrestle with that because she's like, "Oh, you're gonna coach him? Are you gonna coach him?" I just want to join in his father.
Right.
And whatever it is that he wants to do, you know, because my oldest son now is starting to research me and look me up and follow me and stuff like that. And I'm thinking he want to play football because I played football. Right. But, you know, I don't want none of my children to want to grow up and be anything like me because the game have changed since I played. Than me. Right. You know, I mean, just because the game changed so much since we played, you know that. Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, but you can't argue with science. Yeah. So we're talking about would we be okay with our kids playing football, but we know the answer.
But
because we're reading articles and we seeing story after story of these kids.
But that's only 30. Like those stories after story, we could run down the list of all your CTE. Mm-hmm. Let's just say we have 150. Good number or no? You want to make it more? You want to make it more?
I mean, I think it's way more.
Okay, let's make it 300. How about that? Can we do that?
That's
CTE
fine.
Cases, 300. But it's 5,000 in the NFL.
No, it's only 1,600 in the NFL.
Still, that's a whole lot of people who don't get hurt.
No, it's not. You're talking about
there's a whole lot of college.
300.
There's a whole lot of college.
That's like
it's a quarter of.
Like,
it's a quarter.
Like
it's a little less than a quarter. But you got college athletes, you got NFL athletes, you got high school athletes, and you got a lot of those people that never ever get hurt or have anything.
I'm just telling you.
Are we? No. What I wanted to know is, are we making a big deal about it because of the headlines?
You gotta pay attention to science, though.
You're the man. I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna listen to you. We got a call coming on, so let's see what they got to say. I answer this thing. Yeah.
Science, guys.
How you doing? You with the Mancave? Who's calling?
It's Michael.
Oh, what's going on, Mike? How you doing?
What's going on, bro?
Can't call it, man. You got a question from my man Broadway?
Yeah, I got a question for him. Hey, so I coach youth football also, and I got a son that plays. So I want to ask Broadway. So, because I noticed that he said that he didn't want his young kid to play. He wanted him to make sure that he got the fundamentals correct. But what does he feel about having his kids wait till they're in the 7th grade to start playing, well, middle school, but then they're getting taught by the math teacher or the science teacher?
Ooh.
Right. Yeah. That's what they're doing here too.
Yeah, and that's a really good question. And I don't know if you watching closely here, but we over here struggling with this question because it's such a good question. But I just want it to be properly taught. Yeah. Because we wasn't properly taught, and it took a long time for me to learn how to properly hit.
Yeah, I think what Mike is saying is
So at what point do you think that they're getting properly coached? Are they getting properly coached at the youth level? Or are they getting properly coached by the math teacher and the science teacher? Or are they getting properly coached once they get to high school?
Well, that's what I was saying. I wanted to be clear on that. You got to do your due diligence on your coaches. You know, Texas, you guys are really big on football, huge on football. Everywhere I go, it's like 10 up or what is it called?
Stadiums.
You know, it's a big time balling athletes. But the parents got to also And that's another story too, you know, because the dads are, you know, not really around, or the mom are dragging the kids.
Well, this is what
as close as she can get the, you know, close she can get the kid to
let
practice.
me explain to you what he really talking about. Okay, my son plays ninth grade right now, but last year he played 7th and 8th grade. And when you play 7th or 8th grade ball, you come out of your select ball, which he plays select ball. That could be coached by you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody know what they're doing. Blah, blah. Then once they get to 8th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th, they're taught by people who are actually employed by the school system.
Right.
People who are given math lessons and science lessons during the day. And they're getting an hour with these kids. They ain't hitting, they ain't stretching, and you got these math teachers and science teachers teaching them the game. That's what he's talking about. How do you feel about that?
I mean, but that's why, guys, we got to do a better job of getting our qualifications. That's what I also stated earlier, making sure that the right proper coaches. Now, let me say this. I didn't play ball for my middle school.
Right.
I didn't play. I still play spar. We call it spar, Mike, back in Louisiana.
Yeah, we did too.
Okay, I don't know.
It's different.
So I played spar all the way up into like the 8th grade.
Right.
Okay, so I didn't play for any of my schools. So again, I think the proper coaching comes from who's ever the best qualified to coach. I mean, but a math teacher.
He could be qualified.
Could be very well qualified. We have a teacher in here, Mike, so we gotta watch what we say.
I hear everything that you're saying, Broadway. Now, here's the only issue that I had, okay? And this is a direct correlation to this question. And I look at it like this. If the first time that my son puts on a helmet and shoulder pads is in the 7th and the 8th grade, okay? The chances of him really excelling in the game or really loving the game at 12 or 13, when they're already going through the change, they're already going through puberty, they already, you know, have other issues internally.
Right.
How much are they really going to love it at that point when they're going up against a kid who, say for instance, one of my boys who's been playing since they were 10, 11, 12 years old, who already know the game, you know, who knows how to keep their head on the swivel, knows how to tackle.
Right.
Hey, Mike.
Knows the fundamentals. Are they really going to have the same experience as, say, that kid who's just coming out at 7th grade?
All right, Big Mike, we're going to answer this offline, so make sure you tune back into the show to get the answer to that. By the way, the Redskins need you, bro, and I love you, man. Good to hear from you.
Thanks, Mike.
You too, brother.
That's my brother and shit. Okay. But anyway, that's my man. Anyway, yeah, you want to go ahead and answer his question?
Yeah, I understand what he's saying. I really get that, but that's a tough question. Because I'm trying to be, I'm not trying to, you know, teachers are qualified. You know, I know some of my friends, they're having to go into doing math or science or social studies.
So they can
also, but people got to also understand, they're only doing that so the school system can pay them for what they're doing. Right. So I'm not worried about them coaching football. I'm worried about them teaching my son math.
I understand that.
That's what I'm more concerned about.
All right, well, now that we've reached our halfway point, and go ahead and kind of shift this again. So you were an undrafted free agent, correct? Could you take me through the process of going from college? Well, first of all, you graduated high school. How was the process of getting to Arkansas?
First of all, no 18-year-old should go through what these kids are going through recruiting-wise. Okay. First and
Let's
foremost,
talk about it.
Parents must understand this. Teachers, whoever it is, I had a great school system. Evangel was amazing to me. These teachers and the support system walked me through this. My mom dropped out in the 8th grade. You know, I never had a father, so I'm one of the first people in my family to even be talking about going to college, right? So my mom did her best of traveling me to these places and visiting these universities, but you know, my son's going to college. That's the only thing great.
How many schools did you have to choose from?
I had a ton of schools to choose from, but I went on all 5 of my visits. But you know, Michigan was my first offer, and Lord Carr would talk to me, the legendary Lord Carr. And Ron English was the defensive coordinator at that time, and they told me to snow get up to my knees, and they don't cancel class.
Sir.
I was like,
no, sir.
but
no,
what they
thank
did,
you.
but what Michigan did though was really well though. They got a guy that was from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yeah.
And my man Ryan Mallett, Jai Eugene, all some of the big time ball players from Texas and Louisiana. Jai Eugene was actually the number 1 defensive back in the nation at the time, and Ryan Mallett, we know how great and top quarterback he was. We all was recruited. All 3 of us was recruited to go to Michigan. Ryan, of course, ended up going. Jai Eugene ended up decommitting, and I ended up decommitting at the last part. But I mean, what we went through at 18 years old, is actually stories out, about this actual Arkansas recruiting class that went down in history. My year that we came out with Gus Malzahn and Coach Nutt, and the whole system with Frank Broyles and the system what Arkansas did with us. They call it the Fantastic, whatever it was.
Right.
So a weird
poster
was released out, and what happened was all of us committed to other schools. And we all decommitted to follow Gus Malzahn to the University of Arkansas to play with him. Well, what they don't tell you is these same coaches that recruit you might not be there when the season starts.
Yeah.
So,
and that happens a lot.
That
happens to me at my school.
And it breaks you. It breaks these kids because you sit in my living room and and I'm thinking, I don't have a father, so when I need something, I can go to this father-like coach that,
that's really the representative sitting in front of you. That's it.
And you have to be forced to grow up.
So let's go through the process. So you signed your letter of intent, right? That's what that would be.
No,
right?
I didn't have to. Oh yes, well yeah, I did on signing day. Yes,
you signed your letter of intent, then you kind of like move into your dorms, right? And
well, I came in the summertime, and that's when I got there. Darren McFadden was there.
Probably to get in trouble.
Well, I wanted to go start school early, and, which I graduated in 3 years. Okay, and I started my master's as well.
That's good. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. And so you get there on campus, you're still thinking you that big time baller from high school. You know what I'm saying? I set the record in Louisiana for the most kickoff returns, and I think Joe McKnight or the Honey Badger, somebody probably broke it by now. But you thinking like, I'm the man. Like I'm gonna go here,
right.
And then I got hit with a red shirt. Mm-hmm. And that red shirt almost literally broke me.
Because you're not used to it.
I wasn't used to it. And I'm watching all of my friends, Damian Williams, London Crawford, Mitch Mustaine, Ben Cleveland, these guys play, these guys that we decided to go to college with, play, and I was redshirted.
Right,
and
couldn't even dress.
Couldn't even dress, right? And I remember this like yesterday. We was playing Vanderbilt. Jay Cutler was the quarterback at this time. And that's when Vanderbilt was good and they was doing, West Coast offense at this time, right? And I remember they came in there. We was down a defensive back. Chris Houston was the leading corner at this time. And it was like, we're going to pull a Broadway red shirt, right? Now, back then, we didn't have the red shirt rules that they have now, that is absolute mass. That is the most amazing thing that they ever did in NCAA.
The red shirt?
The red shirt thing, that now that you can play certain amount of games and still have a red shirt. Mm-hmm. Well, they was going to pull my red shirt just for one game.
I'm gonna go off topic, man.
Go ahead.
But I really want to get your thought process on this. And I know it's old and I know it's probably not too relevant, but I want your thought on it. What do you feel about them taking Reggie Bush Heisman, man? How'd you feel about that? I just wanted to touch on it.
Let me say something. I told my coach, so this is a funny story. This is a real funny story. This is a true story. Do y'all remember in 2010 when the Auburn Tigers won a national championship with Cam Newton?
Yes, I do.
Okay, do y'all remember that story? Y'all remember that?
I'm from South Carolina, baby.
What?
And we follow
when you guys
Clemson,
when Cam Newton won a national championship, right? But do y'all remember Cam Newton was supposed to be allegedly ineligible because he was taking bribes of his dad or some crazy.
He's getting that cake,
and his dad was like something crazy, right? This was crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I remember we had such a balling year that year that Arkansas was number 2 in the West behind Auburn. Auburn beat us, right? So I remember going to my coach And I was like, Coach, we need to turn this in so we can, because if they would have got this DQ'd, Arkansas would have been the SEC West champions. Because that's the year Auburn beat us, but Auburn beat Alabama. Mm-hmm. But it was one of those weird things going on in the West, right?
Yeah.
And my coach looked at me, he said, listen, you need to sweep around your own front door before you sweep around somebody else's. And I knew exactly what that meant.
Right.
In layman's terms, let me break that down to you. That means we ain't doing everything right over here.
Right, yeah,
so we don't need to go talk about nobody, because when you go say something about this person, they going to bring that light right on over here. And I said, you know what?
I just think it sucks they erased that man's name from the record books like that.
Listen, rules are rules, okay?
Yeah, but I mean, if you offering it, though, your colleges are offering it. Like, I don't understand that. The NCAA is the NCAA. Your colleges are going to people and slipping them the white envelope.
Hey,
you won't be mad. First of all, a college player cannot have a job. This dude can't work nowhere. He can't do nothing. How you getting money?
Hey, that's a situation, man.
All right.
I got to sweep around my own front door before I sweep around somebody else. You're not gonna get me caught up on this.
The views expressed here on the Man Cave are not those intended by.
Yeah, that's a conversation. Off record.
Camera,
yeah.
Right. Okay, so all right, so you go to college, right?
Right.
And I think my cousin Luther Broughton told me this. He said, "Man, if you want to make the NFL, just have a good college career. When you do that, you're in."
Right.
So you go to college, you have a standout career in college. You get out, and then you're ready to go into the NFL. How does that process work? Finding out if you're drafted, if you're not, getting an agent, getting an agent, workouts, combines.
My situation was different because when I was coming out, I was on Mel Kiper board. I was the 25th. I was like the top 20 defensive back in the nation, right? But what happened was, Alshon Jeffrey, we played South Carolina. I like many reporters say it was a career-ending injury, but I had a season-ending injury my senior year. Okay. So my junior year, now remind you, I only played like 2 seasons in the SEC.
Right.
But I just came down from shutting down Julio Jones with only 30 yards, AJ Green, all of these guys, Matthew Stanford, Greg McElroy picking him off, Percy Harvin, all these guys, shutting these guys down, my draft status jumped up. So now I'm the 20th defensive back in the nation.
Right.
Right. So you can call this hotline and ask what your draft status is.
Oh, okay. They got hotline.
So I call up this line. I'm like, okay. So they give you a first round grade, second round grade, third round grade, or 4 through 7. So I had a third round grade my junior year. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I was gonna come out and go pro my junior year, healthy as a horse, right? I sat down with my amazing, beautiful parents, Miss Pat and Ms. Ellis, my adopted parents out of Evangel. They said, hello, Mom. They said, well, you're going to graduate, right? And I sat down with Wilbur Pryor and James Stewart, and they all said, you're going to graduate.
Right.
Right?
It's a good parent.
So I was like, and I looked at them. I looked at every last one of them. I said, now, it was one of those things where it was like premonition almost in a sense. I said, if something happened to me, okay, because I couldn't take out insurance because I wasn't high enough on the draft board. I know people like Darren McFadden, took out insurance.
So you can do that? You can take out insurance on yourself in college?
Yeah, you can. Well, it's a kid named Jay Butts.
That doesn't make you a professional. Like, I know some things you can't do in collegiate play because it would then deem you professional. No,
right? But you can take an insurance policy out on your draft grade.
Okay.
But so let me tell you an example here. Darren McFadden took one out, but it worked out for Darren McFadden. He went number 5 overall.
He got hurt, right? Yeah.
No, but he never got hurt.
Oh.
But he came back his junior year. Darren McFadden did all of this as a freshman and a sophomore. I don't know if everybody remember that. Right. But he took an insurance policy out, in case something was to happen to him because he had a certain grade. Well, this kid named Butts, white kid receiver out of Michigan, did the exact same thing a few years ago, a couple drafts ago, and this came back to hurt him. So he didn't get drafted where he was supposed to based on his intake of his insurance claim. Before he got any check to himself, he had to pay that policy back.
Okay.
So if your draft stock slips,
Then you...
yeah, pretty much what he said.
Hey, well, look.
So what happened with me? So my point is, what happened was with me, I didn't have a high enough grade to take an insurance policy out. So I was a top 20 defensive back in the nation, right? My junior year, I come back my junior year, and now remind you, I only played 4 games my senior year before I had a season-ending injury. So I only played 4 games. So at the end, we played Ohio State. What's the guy Pryor?
Yeah, Terrell
Pryor and them. So, and a cornerback that plays for the Cowboys right now, what's the kid name out of Ohio State? Whatever his name is. But
I don't follow.
they was, even then with me not playing them down after 4 games that I played my senior year, Mel Kiper still had me only sliding 5 slots to number 25th defensive back in the nation.
Okay.
Not the number 25th corner, defensive back. So that's everybody.
Right, yeah, safety, all
Right,
that.
that's everybody.
So
over 39 corners got drafted, 3 defensive backs got drafted in my class.
So you were expecting to get drafted,
Right,
but it didn't happen.
right, because of my injury. So
Okay, so this is something that a lot of the young kids out here can really learn from, because you know we have this tendency to look at the NFL stars and just believe that those are the stories,
Right.
and that's where you're going to be, and this
Right.
is where, you know, and you being here and being candid with your story and sharing it, you know, can maybe open some light to someone else so they can understand that, you
Right.
know, if you don't make it, you
Right.
know, there to be a Julio Jones
Right.
or a Adrian Peterson or something like
Right.
that. Speaking of, you know, that there's still a light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
So, okay, you don't get drafted on the days that you're supposed to get drafted. What do you do then to get yourself into the league?
Well, after then, I mean, I got a bunch of calls. You know, at that time,
So they would call you.
Elway was at the Broncos at
Right.
this time. Sean Payne brought me into the Saints. I knew I was going to be a New Orleans Saints. Right? I came down.
Oh, you was ready.
I was ready. I thought I was going to be a Saint for sure. They said they're going to take me in the 5th round, and they called and said we're going to take you in this next coming up round. So my situation was a little bit more dreadful too, because I got GMs and coaches calling me saying they taking me next.
Right.
Right. So like, you know, so I'm there watching the draft. I'm like, all right, my phone's on. I'm about to get a call. Phone ring. You see an area code on there. You're like, yeah, you know, you see a New York number, like, all right, that's the Giants or that's the Jets. And you pick up the phone. You're like, they say, hey, Broadway, how you feeling? You still sitting in there? I can remember the conversation like yesterday. You still sitting in there? You doing good? Matter of fact, the Saints called me the night before when do they do, like that Sunday night when they started doing the 4 round through 7 or something like that. They called me never forget that. They called me at like 12 o'clock midnight. Okay, I'm in my bed. They call me and it's like, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm good. It's like, you know, how's your leg? Everything's good. Your rehab? I'm seeing you flying. I mean, you know, they worked me out, brought me in several times.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they even let me catch punts. I ain't even do punt returns in college. You know what I mean? So, just thinking that's what it's gonna be, man. And honestly, and that day came. The next day came by, and they kept calling. Next thing you know, 7th round run by, and they didn't call.
It wasn't there.
It wasn't there.
So what happens at that point?
So at that point, after I cried for a million minutes, okay, and I started taking back everything I bought.
Like, God damn it.
I'm trying to take back everything that I bought, borrowed, loaned, or whatever, right? Then at that moment, you start discussing which team are you gonna go with. So immediately your agent call you, and you start talking about
Now,
where
how do you get mixed up with an agent? I know they probably come and find you.
Oh my gosh, dude!
But how do you pick the best agent? What is a good percentage that, you know, some of these kids today?
I had 5 agents on me, my top of my senior year. You know, I mean, these guys came down to my city. We partied. They took us out to nightclubs.
Right.
You know, spent a lot of money. And then after that South Carolina game, I was only down to like 2 agents.
Right. Yeah.
And then, and so then at that moment, I mean, every home game or every away game, I had an agent in the stand.
Right.
Every single game.
So I mean, how do you go about, like, let's just say it's your son and he's getting older. How are you gonna find the best agent for him?
I can't wait.
Right, but how are you gonna find the best agent for him?
Well, because number one, I know what to ask now that no one asked.
So
for
what
me.
do you need to ask?
So the number one question you're gonna ask him is, what is your percentage?
Right.
Okay?
So
that's
good
number one.
What's a good percentage?
Well, it depends on the structure of the contract. If he gonna get your endorsements and stuff like that, deals, or you getting a certain percentage off each endorsement, or you only getting a certain percentage off. Someone like a Dak Prescott, he have someone who do his contracts. I think CAA does his contracts, and he has somebody that's do his endorsement deals, his marketing deals, his shooters, all of that. So you gotta almost have a team, so you're gonna be doing this for me. You're gonna be doing this for me. You're gonna be doing this for me. I don't believe in giving one person all of your percentages.
No,
that's to me is crazy. I think 3% is always a good number.
So
3% is like average, like I think for an agent to get, but. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, because you're talking about 3% out of $1 million, or 3% out of 7,000. Like I know my cousin.
He got 5 or 6 clients. I mean, you know, you talking about 5 or 6 clients.
Yeah, you straight. You all right? You can eat.
That's what a realtor get for selling a house.
But that's what you're doing when you're selling an athlete. You're basically selling a home.
Right.
You know, my cousin said something like that. I think every game check he was getting was like $7,700. Something like that. It's crazy.
Right.
So y'all get 16 game checks and then that's it.
Right, well, and that's it.
You gotta live off of that.
Now that's
right.
that's the most
something
important.
that people don't know.
That's the most important things that I want to talk to the audience about. I seen people run through, millions of dollars, right? And the number one thing is why people are running through the money is because they forget about the number one person who got to get paid. That's Uncle Sam.
Yeah, right.
And so you make all of this money for 6 months, right? So you went out there and bought jewelry, you went out there and bought cars, and then they make the rookies nowadays. I mean, I had to buy Popeye's chicken and I got to watch Aston Martin's, and all that cool stuff. But when it come down to you spending these crazy amounts of money, just because you're a rookie and your check ain't fat as Phillip Rivers, you still gotta pay.
Yeah.
You still gotta pay a fine.
So they don't take taxes out of that.
Oh man, listen, you are responsible for they make you pay for your game tickets and you get taxed on your game tickets.
Right, but they have a rookie symposium that they explain all this. Do they have education for you guys coming in?
Yeah, but these kids ain't listening, right? Because we're all thinking that we're gonna play forever. Football is a kid's game. You think you're gonna be young and you're gonna play forever. It's very rare that
shelf life's about 3-4 years.
It must have went up because when I was playing, it was 2 years.
Yeah.
But the thing is, these kids get these millions of dollars of contract. Remember, you gotta pay your agent.
Yeah.
Gotta pay your PR. You gotta pay your person who getting you all your endorsements. You gotta go buy your mama something. I don't know why us African Americans feel like we gotta go buy everybody a house.
Yeah, jewelry and
why do we feel like we gotta go buy our mom a home?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's just most of our dream. When you go to sleep at night, you dream about making it.
But why go
buy you a house one day, mama?
That's fine. Buy mama a house. But when you buy mama a house, buy mama the house, right? Don't put a mortgage on it. Mm-hmm. Don't put the mortgage on it. Buy cash. Buy cash. If you got it, go and buy cash. And I promise you, your mom would take a $150,000 house. Your mom would take a $200,000 house. Go buy it out cash, because what happens is now you got to pay you get cut in 2 years. Well, mama still got that mortgage for 30. Now, guess what happened? Y'all fell behind on the mortgage. Now you got to foreclose on a home. Now, when you could have had that house in cash, sold that house, all right, let it be yours or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
We're getting pretty close to the end of the show, and we might go over a little bit because I'm not trying to cheat this show right here, because who knows when I can get you back. But I got about 2 more questions I want to dive into, and take your time with them if you need to. But the first thing I want to know is, do you remember your first now moment on the football field? That moment where it was your time to shine.
Yeah. In
college or NFL, it was your time. You got that thing in your head, and it was like, it's now or never. What was that moment for you?
I think it was high school. It was high school, and I remember taking 2 kickoff returns to the house. Right. And I remember the crowd just going. So they called the flag on it. And it was like, oh, I was holding. So I scored a touchdown, and I remember Philip Giger, Texas Longhorns safety, was in the game, right? So I'm like, oh, the old heads, I gotta get off, right? So I catch this punt. I catch this kickoff return. I take it to the house. They call a flag. My coach say, run a play again. I say, Coach, I'm Coach Ball. I'm looking at him like, Coach, listen, they know we're gonna run this same play. I'm just scared. I'm like, we can't run it. It's not gonna work this time. He looked at me and said, run the same play, right? Like crazy. I get the ball again, boom, scored again.
That was your now.
At this moment, everybody was like, what? Like, how do you take 2 kickoff returns to the house?
What changed from that day?
I was like, man, I'm kind of good.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I might be all right. You know what I'm saying? So.
All right. Well, for my last question, man, we'll wrap it up on this. So, I want you to talk to a 14-year-old Hendrix, or a leader, or any other kid that may be out there. Their parents are making them watch this so they can get some information to see what it really is about. So you take a 14-year-old kid, what kind of advice would you give them to make it to the next level? What's important?
Honestly, making right decisions when you with your friends. Start shaping your character. Be someone all the times, regardless of someone watching or not. I think it's very important that we understand at 14 years old, that's the decisions you're making today will pave your tomorrow. And I have this saying that I like to say, so if I'm talking to Hendrix, I'm looking him in his eyes and I'm saying, son, your talent gonna take you places where your character can't keep you.
You're right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, Zibide, let's go back to how we started the show. Antonio Brown, okay?
Yeah, right.
His talent got him somewhere. Got him that big 30 million.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
And his character gonna get up.
Your character couldn't keep him there.
Right.
And as a father, I'm looking at my son and I'm like, I want that to be a lesson to you to understand your decision will shape your tomorrow.
Yep. Hard work beats talent most days.
Any day.
Yep. Most days, hard work will beat talent. Every now and then, talent will win out because it's talent.
Right.
But on most days, hard work. I tell my son, I think some of the most important things is hard work. Yeah, you can go ahead and bring it in. Hard work and being serious will take you further than a lot of things, man. Hey, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Man, I appreciate you for coming out, man. Hey, for everybody who's watching, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube page. Also, look up KMWI Media right here. We have a bunch of great shows. Teachers Are Talking. All of them are behind us. 50 Shades with Jay is really good. Shawnee B Entertainment. You can find her on YouTube. You guys tune in, man. This is a great media show. We're trying to grow here, and we want you to be a part of that. Thanks a lot.
Thank you guys for watching.